I've always been drawn to the supernatural, fascinated by the unexplained and the eerie. So when my cousin Amelia invited me to spend a week at her family's old estate, Harrow House, I eagerly accepted the invitation. Little did I know that this decision would lead me to experience something truly terrifying and inexplicable. Harrow House had a rich history, dating back to the 18th century. It had been the residence of the Harrow family for generations until it was abandoned a few years ago due to strange occurrences and unsettling tales that surrounded the property. Locals whispered about ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and objects moving on their own. But being the curious thrill-seeker that I was, those stories only fueled my excitement. As I arrived at the estate, I was immediately taken aback by its grandeur. The house loomed tall and imposing, its once vibrant red bricks now weathered and worn. Ivy climbed up the walls, adding to the eerie charm. Amelia greeted me with a mix of apprehension and excitement in her eyes. She knew the legends as well, but she was determined to confront them head-on. The first few days at Harrow House were relatively uneventful. We explored the vast empty rooms, the creaking floors echoing our footsteps. The atmosphere was heavy, as if the walls were holding centuries of secrets. But nothing overtly paranormal happened, and we started to wonder if the stories were just that, stories. However, on the fourth night, everything changed. Amelia and I were sitting in the library, engrossed in reading about the history of the estate when we heard it, the faint sound of a piano playing from a distant room. We exchanged startled glances, both knowing that there was no one else in the house. The previous owners had taken their belongings with them, leaving the house eerily empty. Driven by curiosity, we followed the haunting melody through the dark corridors, our flashlights barely penetrating the darkness. The music led us to a small room on the second floor, which we soon realized was once a music parlor. But the source of the sound remained a mystery, as there was no piano in sight. The next night, we heard the piano again, this time accompanied by the sound of a woman humming a haunting tune. The melody echoed through the house, growing louder and more unsettling with each passing minute. We rushed to the source, but as soon as we entered the music parlor, the sound stopped abruptly. As the days passed, the paranormal activity intensified. Doors slammed shut on their own, and we heard disembodied footsteps roaming the halls. The air became heavy with an oppressive energy, and a feeling of being watched constantly haunted us. One evening, as we were exploring the attic, I came across an old chest filled with dusty belongings from generations past. Among the yellowed letters and faded photographs, I found an ornate music box. It was exquisitely crafted, with intricate carvings of flowers and vines. Curiosity got the better of me, and I wound up the music box. To my horror, the haunting melody that we had heard before emanated from the tiny instrument. The same eerie tune that had been played on the piano was now coming from the music box, and I couldn't make it stop. Amelia and I stared at each other in shock and fear. That night, we decided to perform a makeshift seance, hoping to communicate with whatever entity was haunting Harrow House. Armed with candles and a Ouija board we had found in the attic, we sat in a circle, our hands trembling with anticipation. At first, nothing happened. We asked questions, hoping for a response, but the planchette remained motionless. Just as we were about to give up, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candles. In the darkness, we heard a faint whisper, chilling us to the core. "You shouldn't have come here," the voice said, sending shivers down our spines. "Leave this place before it's too late." Terrified, we scrambled to our feet and ran downstairs, vowing to heed the warning. But Harrow House wasn't ready to release its grip on us just yet. As we reached the ground floor, the door slammed shut, trapping us inside. In a panic, we tried to open the windows, but they seemed to be stuck. The house felt alive, as if it was fighting to keep us there. The whispering grew louder, and the air seemed to vibrate with malevolence. Just when it felt like we were trapped forever, the front door finally budged, swinging open with a forceful gust of wind. Without a second thought, we bolted out of the house, not looking back until we were a safe distance away. Harrow House stood silent and foreboding, its dark secrets hidden within its walls. We vowed never to return, grateful to have escaped the clutches of whatever malevolent force resided there. To this day, I still shudder at the memories of that week at Harrow House. I've learned that some places hold a darkness that is beyond our comprehension.